My niece sent me her Christmas wish list. A $2,000 laptop, a drone, and $1,000 just because. I told her, "You're getting socks." Then my brother replied, "Then you're not welcome here." I smiled and without thinking twice replied, "Good. Now you can pay your rent without me." 3 minutes later, 23 missed calls. I'm Stacy from Colorado Springs. I have a useless brother named Brian, and sadly, his daughter seems to be turning out just like him. Brian hasn't had a real job in over 5 years. He jumps from one small gig to another and always has some excuse about how life is against him. And through all of it, I've been the one keeping his house running. When the rent was short, he called me. When groceries ran out, he called me. When Kayla needed shoes, school supplies, birthday gifts, again, it was me. I kept helping because his wife, Elise, works 2 jobs and never complains. And because I kept telling myself it was temporary. But temporary became permanent, and Kayla, who used to be a sweet, quiet kid, started acting just like him. Ungrateful, spoiled, passive-aggressive. No matter what I gave, it was never enough. No thank you, no appreciation, just bigger demands every time. This year was already hard for me. My rent went up, my car broke down, and work drained me. I work 11-hour shifts at the hospital, come home exhausted, and the only peace I get is a few minutes before bed. I wasn't even thinking about Christmas. I was just trying to make my paycheck last until the 20th. Then suddenly I got a text from Kayla. No hello, just my Christmas list, smiley face, and 3 links. A $2,000 MacBook Pro. A high-end drone for almost $1,000. And at the bottom, $1,100 just for fun. Just for fun. I stared at it for a while. Not because I was shocked. Nothing surprises me from Kayla anymore. But because I realized I wasn't angry. I was finished. I replied with 2 words, "You'll get socks." Less than a minute later, Brian jumped into the group chat. "Then you're not welcome here." No hesitation. Just kicking me out over a laptop. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was exactly what I expected. I texted back, "Good. Now you can pay your rent without me." I put my phone down, poured myself a glass of wine, and when I checked again, I had 23 missed calls, mostly from Brian, 2 from Kayla, 1 from Elise. I didn't answer any. Later, Elise texted me saying she didn't know Kayla sent that list and she was sorry. She asked if I was okay and told me not to take Brian's words personally. He was just stressed, which usually means he got another final notice for rent that I didn't reply. I just sat there and let the silence speak for me. That night, I started thinking about every time I paid his rent, every time I used my savings to fix his mess, and how I was family, only when they needed something. This Christmas, I was done being their backup plan. The next morning, everything was quiet. No calls, no texts. Normally that would feel good, but to me it was confirmation. They were waiting. Brian always does the same thing. Cause chaos. Wait a bit, then act like nothing happened. It usually works because I hate conflict. After long hospital shifts, all I want is peace. But this time, I came home, still in my scrubs, opened my laptop, and checked all the transfers I'd sent Brian this year. I thought maybe a few hundred here and there. But it wasn't that. It was $7,386,700. Money that could have paid off my car. Money that could have covered half a year of my rent. Instead, it went to late bills, groceries he never bought himself, and a house he refused to take care of. I even paid their Wi-Fi, cable, and trash bill. I was basically a one-woman support system for a grown man who never tried to support himself. I logged into the utility accounts and removed my name. One by one, I called the electric company and said, "I'm removing myself from this account." No explaining, no guilt. Then I did the same for the internet. I canceled auto payments. Removed my card. Canceled the grocery delivery subscription I didn't even remember signing up for that I didn't tell them anything. I just stopped. 3 days later, Brian messaged, "Hey, is the internet down?" I left him on read. Next morning, "Did you forget the utility bill?" Still nothing. Later, "Look, I know you got mad about the Christmas list, but this is stupid. It's Christmas. Can we not make this a big deal?" I replied, "It is a big deal." Hours went by. Then Elise texted me again. Hers was the only message that made me stop for a second. She said she understood if I was done helping, but asked me not to take it out on Kayla. She's still a kid. She doesn't understand. That one hurt a bit, because Elise is the only one who actually tries. She works 2 jobs, keeps the house going, and tries to raise Kayla normally while Brian does the bare minimum. But the truth is, Kayla does understand. She's 13. She knows that asking for $4,000 worth of gifts from the aunt who pays their bills is not normal. She wasn't clueless. She was just copying her dad. I didn't reply to Elise either. Not yet. I needed time to sit with everything, think it through, and make sure I wasn't acting out of anger, but out of self-respect. Saturday morning came, and that's when I knew something had shifted. Brian sent a whole paragraph. No punctuation, barely any grammar, just pure anger. I hope you're happy. You always act like you're better than us. You like having power over people. You like being in control. This is why no one wants to spend holidays with you. But that wasn't even the worst part. The last line was, "You're just bitter and lonely." That's when I realized he wasn't scared of losing my money. He was scared of losing his control over me. But then Elise texted me separately. He's losing it. Blaming everyone. Still hasn't applied anywhere. Just pacing. She wasn't asking for money. She wasn't begging me to change my mind. She was just telling the truth. Brian had no backup plan. No savings. No steady work. His entire life revolved around the idea that I would never stop catching him when he fell. And for the first time, I wasn't going to. The unraveling hadn't even started yet. The first clue was the trash. Elise posted on her Instagram story, a pile of garbage bags next to an overflowing bin. The caption said, "Missed pickup again." I knew it wasn't missed. The city doesn't skip houses when the bill is paid. And I'd been the one paying it. Then Kayla complained online about her school shoes, still wearing last year's pair. "This is abuse TBH," she wrote. That one made me stop. Abuse. Not inconvenience. Not being disappointed. Abuse, that's the kind of thing a spoiled kid says when they grow up never hearing the word no. In a house where consequences are always someone else's problem, Brian still wasn't reaching out in any real way. Just short, bitter messages every few days. "You really doing this? So you're not even going to try?" Kayla's Christmas is ruined. You good with that? Every time, I put my phone down. Every time, I pictured him on that stained old couch, phone in one hand, ego in the other, waiting for guilt to kick in. It used to work. I used to feel like I was the cruel one. But now I was simply exhausted. Tired of explaining. Tired of paying while he did nothing. Then Elise called. I almost didn't answer, but I did, and I could hear it instantly. She wasn't calling to beg. She was worn out. "I need to be honest," she said. "He's not doing anything." I already knew, but hearing her say it out loud hit differently. She told me he wakes up late, stays on his phone all day, and only pretends to job hunt when she's watching. When she brings it up, he snaps at her, accuses her of taking my side, like she and I are teaming up against him. Then she told me she'd taken a third job, a weekend cleaning shift at the rec center. That broke something in me. Elise, already working 2 jobs, now scrubbing floors on Saturdays while Brian sits on Reddit complaining about the economy. She said Kayla was getting meaner too, copying Brian, saying things like, "Aunt Stacy cut us off because she wants to feel powerful and she's punishing us for being poor." I didn't say anything. I just listened. Then Elise said something I didn't expect. "I'm thinking about leaving for a bit, taking Kayla and going to my parents. I can't keep living like this. I don't want her thinking this is normal." I told her I'd support her. I wouldn't fund her life, but I'd help her move, help her get stable again if she needed it. She thanked me and said, "I don't even want your money. I just needed to say it out loud to someone who understands." So we made a plan. Quietly. She started packing the important things, keeping it low-key so Brian wouldn't explode before she was ready. And while she prepared to leave, Brian kept sending me the same kind of texts. "This is your fault. She's depressed. You're ruining our family." I never answered. Then one night, Elise called again. It was late. She sounded out of breath. "I'm at my parents'," she said. "We left tonight." She said Brian finally snapped. Not violent, just loud and dramatic. Slamming things, yelling, accusing her of turning Kayla against him, saying she picked me over him, calling her selfish for leaving before Christmas. She waited until he stormed out for another fake job search, then grabbed Kayla and left. When I hung up, I sat in my dark kitchen and realized he had finally pushed away the last person who ever tried for him. The next morning, Brian texted me one sentence. "She left me. You win." I stared at it for a long time. It wasn't a question, not even an attack. It was pure defeat. But I didn't reply, because he didn't understand that none of this was about winning. It was about finally stopping the slow drain that had been bleeding me dry for years. After Elise left with Kayla, everything went silent. No texts, no drama, not even one of his usual, "you ruined everything" messages. At first, I thought he was sulking, maybe embarrassed, but the real surprise came later. Our parents came back 6 weeks early. They'd been in Europe, enjoying their retirement. Wine tastings, old cobblestone towns, boat tours. I watched their trip through little Instagram updates like everyone else. They weren't supposed to come home until after New Year's, but they cut their trip short. Mom said the cold in Prague wasn't cute anymore. Dad said he just missed his grill. But neither of those were the real reason. The real reason was Brian, that he showed up at their house the moment they landed, suitcase still in the hallway, and threw himself into their arms with a perfectly timed breakdown. He told them I had turned on the family, that Elise had brainwashed Kayla, and that he was being punished just for being broke. He didn't mention that I had been paying his bills for over a year. He didn't say Elise had been begging him for months to get a job while she worked 3 of her own. And of course, he left out the Christmas list. Convenient. So when Mom showed up at my door 2 days later with a bag of pastries and her "let's talk" look, I already knew what was coming. She started gently. She said she wanted everyone together for Christmas and asked if I could find it in my heart to forgive Brian. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I got my laptop, opened my banking app, and showed her the transfer history, line after line after line. Groceries, utilities, rent, more rent, more rent again. She didn't speak for a full minute. Then I opened Kayla's message, the one with the $2,000 laptop, the $900 drone, and the casual $1,000, just for fun. I watched my mom's face tighten as she read it. When I was done, I said, "I didn't turn on anyone. I just stopped being used." And for once, Mom didn't try to smooth it over. She leaned back, let out a long breath, and said, "I think you should block him." I blinked. "You're serious?" She nodded. "He doesn't need another person enabling him. He needs consequences." Even Dad, who normally avoids getting involved, spoke up the next day. Dad called me and said, "Let him sweat. He'll either grow or sink. But it's not your burden anymore." I didn't block Brian. Not because I felt guilty, but because I wanted to see how long it would take before he realized no one was coming to rescue him. 5 days later, I got a text from an unknown number. "Hey, it's Brian." I had to sell my phone. He said he was sleeping on a friend's couch, hadn't eaten a real meal in 3 days, and wasn't asking for money. Just help finding a job. It was the first message from him that wasn't angry or manipulative. I called him, and for the first time, he sounded embarrassed, not defensive. He didn't apologize directly, but he said, "I get it now. You weren't trying to hurt me. You were trying to make me grow up." He told me Elise wasn't answering his calls. Kayla had blocked him, and he knew he'd pushed them away. Then he said something I never expected. "I didn't realize how hard you worked. I thought you were just lucky. So I helped, but not with money. I sent him job listings and pulled strings to get him a night cleaning job at the hospital. Hard work, low pay, no shortcuts." He showed up anyway. Every night. Quiet, tired, but working. Weeks passed. People at the hospital told me he was consistent, helpful, and stayed out of trouble. He texted me after his first paycheck. "It's only $587, but it feels like something." He bought real groceries. Got a haircut. Elise's dad even invited him to dinner. Small steps, but real ones. Then, slowly, things softened. Elise told me she might be ready to talk to him. Kayla accepted a ride to school. When Brian texted me that she said, "Thanks," I realized he was finally changing. He got offered a full-time night position with benefits. No dramatic speech, just a simple update. Then another message. "I want to fix next Christmas. I don't want Kayla to remember me as the guy who ruined everything." I told him, "Just earn tomorrow. Keep going." He replied, "I will." This morning, he sent a photo of his new hospital ID, his official badge. Then another message, "Sign the lease. Small studio. Not pretty, but it's mine." He saved for it himself. No loans, no help. He even asked if Kayla could visit, not to impress her, but to show her he was rebuilding. I offered to help him move. Just muscle, not money, he said. That would mean a lot. I want someone to see it. So this weekend, I'll help carry boxes into a tiny apartment he earned through actual effort. And maybe this time, he won't throw it all away. Thanks for watching this video, my viewers, and love you all, my viewers.